And we are now getting into our elimination match, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of side Delta, we have the South Korean Terran player representing on side Gaming. Looking to fight his way back out of this group, it is Maru. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Zerg player, also representing on side Gaming as they are teammates. It is Solar. We are catching up. I see in the chat, 15 minutes only leading main roaches. Well, yeah, of course. Again, if I don't know if I was clear with what was happening in that last game, but because the economy was crippled, Scarlet couldn't actually tech up any further and actually get a higher quality army, just because she was forced all in after the initial attack. As why the quality of the army was again very low for such a long time, just because of what had occurred throughout that game. But again, we are getting into this, and Maru going to be going for a 2-Rax opener. And I'm curious, so Maru, he did have a certain playstyle, a certain approach in the previous series against Scarlet. If you recall, Maru in game 1 went for a 3-base all-in, in game 2 went for a 2-base all-in, and I wonder if that is just the side of the bed that he woke up on this day. If if he woke up and he chose aggression, he chose violence. I'm curious, as here on side Delta, I'm getting some flashbacks. It is going to be a 2-Rax opener to begin with, and we'll see if we follow it up with a 4-Rax. Now, to be fair, previously against Scarlet, Maru did go for a Rax expand, followed by the 4-Rax. So it was a hidden 4-Rax from Maru. So already the opener is slightly different, as we're going for our Reapers. Reaper's going to be moving out, looking for some map control. CC is going to be taking behind this as well. And we'll see if Solar is able to squeeze out a 3rd base as the drone is making its way towards that 3rd base location. And Solar does confirm the 2-Rax opener. Here we go. The first Reaper has arrived. It's going to be poking away at that natural, going to be threatening that mineral line. Just trying to be a little bit annoying here, and Maru of course has to be careful to overextend and not to push too far into creep, but so far doing a good job here, just harassing, keeping an eye on things. He does rotate over towards the right hand side. He will get eyes on the 3rd base, and from here immediately additional Reapers. The goal here is that Maru, he's going to make 2 extra Reapers. He's going to go up to 5, and his goal is to cancel this 3rd, and he should cancel the 3rd. This is something that he was unable to do previously, but that is because it was a late scout on the 3rd base of Scarlet. I believe it was game 1, if I'm not mistaken. But now that he's spotted this 3rd base, he should force a cancel and should contain Solar to 2 bases for as long as he can. As the additional Reapers have arrived, Ling's speed is still a ways away from finishing up. You can see Solar, oh, he wants to hold on to this 3rd. The Queens are waddling in, Ling's as well. But with good target firing, Maru should force the cancel. Yeah, the Queens, they back off. Solar, he knows he cannot hold on. And he does cancel that 3rd. A very late cancel as well, and Solar, he is stuck on 2 bases. Link speed is about to kick in, and Maru should be dipping out. Should turn around. Behind this, it's going to be a 3cc opener into a factory, so no 4-Rax, no 3-Rax. It is going to be a 3cc 2-1-1. Very economic opener here out of Maru, or I should say an economic follow-up. And Maru's in a pretty good position. You know, he's containing Solar to 2 bases. He's, you know, forcing Solar to be that much more late here with his economy, that much more delayed with his economy. Maru is stuck at home. Sorry, Solar's stuck at home. From here, he may even double expand and take a faster 4th to make up for his late 3rd. As the Lings are going across the map, they want to try to punish these Marines, but the Reapers are in position. We have a follow-up here. Not Hellions, actually. We have Cyclones on the way instead. Interesting choice. Usually we have Hellions for map control, but the Cyclones are an interesting addition here to the army. There's that starport on the way for an add-on swap. This natural is looking very congested just because of the location of all these buildings. But again, we should be seeing an add-on swap here to get into those medevacs. We are moving out across the map with the addition of these Cyclones. Oh my god, the Overlords are being hunted down. Second Overlord will fall. Maru, he's going to just make his way forward. The Cyclones, they can threaten these queens with those lock-ons. So Solar has to be very careful here with his approach. His Overlord did, of course, see Stim being resourced earlier. Solar's fully aware of the follow-up. Fully aware of what's going on. Clutch Transfuses keeping all these queens alive. And Maru, he's just vying for map control, waiting for those medevacs. He's also got Stim. Bear that in mind. He can try to dive on these queens if he ever sees an opportunity for it. Solar, meanwhile, trying to set up a surround instead, trying to come in from behind. Oh. And the surround does come in. The Hellions getting a lot of volleys off though. Stim is forced. But it looks like, do we have enough wings? Up. We barely do to take down the Cyclone, but not to clean up everything else. An efficient trade here out of Maru. The Hellions putting in a lot of work. The Stim as well. Solar losing 39 Lings for 2 Marines. And the Cyclone. Aye, aye, aye. A very efficient trade here out of Maru. Gonna be stutter stepping his heart out. One of those medevacs did take a lot of hits, but again, still just keeping the pressure on. Behind this, Maru, he's on 3 bases. He's saturating his third, working on 1-1 combat shields. The rest of his Raxes. He hasn't killed any queens yet, but that is about to change. 2, 3, 4 queens go down. Oh my god. Get the last guy. There's one left. Oh my god. Transfuse goes off, and we only get 3 queens, but we cancel the 4th. Maru, he's just gotten so much with so little. And Solar, he's struggling to keep up. Oh, he catches a tank. Things looking a little bit better here for Solar. Well, as the medevac does get targeted down, Maru just pushing on forward regardless. Trying to avoid the surround. The Lings do come in once again. And this time, Solar should clean this up. Oh god, he will not actually. God, the Marines, they trade so efficiently against those Lings, and finally Maru gets cleaned up. He loses the last Marine, is forced back, but that was merely the first army, and we have reinforcements on the way. Now, again, it was actually pretty big that Solar killed one of those tanks. It means that this next wave won't have as much of an anchor point as it should. So Solar, he's holding on, he's surviving, getting additional gases. He is double expanding, taking his 4th and 5th, and he needs at least a 4th up and running. Otherwise, Solar will fall behind. Maru now just skyrocketing ahead here in economy. Oh, we force a cancel on the 4th that was almost done. Solar's being starved out. Behind this, 4th CC is on the way. That tank getting a lot of hits in already on the queens. Oh my god. Whereas Maru wasn't looking. He wasn't looking. Does take a bailing to the face. Decent trade there from Solar, but again, he still is on 3 bases. That's the problem. He still has not gotten a 4th base. And now Maru, he can rotate over towards that 4th base location, or he can just push in towards the 3rd. As he's rallying everything across the map. He's got 3 tanks, 32 Marines. 1-1 is done. 2-2 on the way. Bailings barely are not caught out. The split is looking good though. Solar, instead of going for a big counterattack, he catches some reinforcements. Does get on top of these Marines. Does deny or delay the 4th. At the same time, Maru, he just continues to push on forward. That was a cancel on that CC. Solar getting work done. He's not getting any economic damage, but he does at least delay the reinforcements. Does cancel the 4th. And Solar now gets his own 4th up and running. Yeah, and this position is just too strong. Solar has to give up his 3rd base. He's been starved out this entire game. He struggled to even take a 3rd, and now he's struggling to take a 4th. As hatcheries are falling left and right. Solar just cannot keep up. Once again going for a counterattack, but Maru, he's now keeping up with the tempo of Solar. He pulls back. He keeps up with this run by, this counterattack. And he can keep on pushing. Oof. Big tank volleys go off. And yeah, it's just a numbers game here. It's just Maru just suffocating Solar throughout the course of the entire game. Banelings roll in. Decent connections. Solar catching some reinforcements as well. But even if he takes down this mineral line, it is not going to be enough. Maru doesn't care. He doesn't care, not anymore. Decent Baneling connections, a tank will fall, but there's nothing left here to defend. Maru, he gets on top of the queens. GG gets called. And Maru takes game number 1. And this, this is the Maru that people wanted to see. No all-ins out of him. An aggressive opener, yes, but yeah, just with as little as he had, he just traded so damn efficiently. Out-controlling, out-trading Solar time and time again, starving him out. And coming out on top. A solid game out of Maru. And from almost the get-go, Solar was kind of forced to play to the beat of Maru's drums. Solar, he was struggling. And now he has an opportunity to fight back here as we load into game number 2. And spawning in the top right hand corner of our Keone, we have the South Korean Terran player representing On-Side Gaming, leading the series 1-0. It is Maru. And spawning in the bottom left, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, also representing On-Side Gaming, down in this series. It is Solar. But I did see like some people speaking in the chat earlier about how like Maru has been like really all in or cheesy recently. It's like kind of yes, but at the same time not really. Like we've been casting a lot of Maru in like WTL or some of these other online events, and Maru, he, especially against Protoss, he has been going to the late game. He has been pulling apart his opponents, whether it's players like Max or players like Hero as well. Maru has been looking strong, but he does mix in cheeses whenever he thinks he can, and we're seeing that here. It is going to be a 2-Rax opener, and this is, you know, what Maru's always done. He's the kind of player that he can be down a series or he can be in the ace match and he will proxy you, he will cheese you. I feel like that's what he was known for most of all, especially back in the day. For cheesing when everything is on the line. And here we go. It is going to be a 2-Rax opener. 1 back at home, 1 across the map. The goal here, similar to the last game, is to contain your opponent, to contain Solar to 2 bases, and to snowball a little bit further out of control. The difference here is that reinforcements will arrive a lot faster, which means Maru could actually snowball out of control and kill not just Lings, but potentially drones and even queens. Now, this isn't all in by any means. Maru, he can expand behind this, but this is designed to try to give Maru an edge in the early game. Is this game live? This is a replay cast. The cast is live. The games are not. Games are 48 hours out of date. 2 days ago, Papi. 2 days ago is when these games were played out. As the first Reaper does arrive. We'll be dipping in towards that natural base. Second Reaper arrives as well. Suddenly Solar should be aware that something is amiss, and he does have to evacuate that natural. At least he doesn't stick around, so he does minimize his losses. Only lost 1 Ling so far, and that could have been so much worse. The drone does fall as well. Maru getting a second Ling. He rotates around, he gets eyes on the third base, and just like we saw previously, the goal here for Maru is to cancel this third. The queens, though, much faster here. Much faster reaction out of Solar. He does want to try to hold on to it. He's going to be rotating around. And Maru doesn't make 5 Reapers. He only makes 3 as he's floating back home and transitioning already. So Maru actually is not looking to cancel this third. He's applying pressure, don't get me wrong. But with only 3 Reapers, these Lings can deal with this. We can hold on. It's going to be close, though. It is going to be close. As the hatchery is getting very low, Maru escaping into the main base. Goes straight for the main. Doesn't quite get another drone, though. He is caught out. As As the Reapers rotate back over, but the Queens are in position. There's no way out. One Reaper will fall. So will the second, and maybe even the third. Oh! Oof. All 3 Reapers go down, and that suddenly is not worth it for Maru. He loses 3 Reapers. The transition is going to be delayed here for Maru as well. And it was all for 1 drone and 2 Lings. As a result, Solar... Oh, there wasn't a wall! No! There's nothing! There is nothing here. No Marines, no Hellions either! Big mistake out of Maru, not sealing that off. The Lings get into the main base. And this is disastrous for Maru. Ay, ay, ay. The SCVs are forced to surround. So many workers go down. 10 SCVs. Ay, ay, ay. For nada this depot. This depot slightly misplaced. Not quite walling off in the end. That's the new maps. That's the new maps for you. You know, you have to get used to walling off here. Shout out to Gemini with his Protoss walling maps. Protoss walling guide, sorry. As Maru behind this is going to try to get into a 2-1-1 setup on 3cc. Very economic follow-up, but Maru, he is heavily behind in workers. As we are forced to throw down another depot to wall off. 27 SCVs against the 40 of Solar. These Hellions, they got a lot of work to do. Now, I like what Maru's doing. So he's got Hellions on the ground to try to threaten some of these mineral lines. And we have Widow Mines on the way. Widow Mines on the way here to try to go for some drop harass. This is pretty desperate, is what I will say. But I appreciate it because, you know, high risk, high reward. This is a way to come back. If at any moment Solar isn't paying attention, he may lose a mineral line. As 4 Widow Mines are moving out. And we have potential for damage in the main base with this mine drop, and if the Queens are pulled out of position, the Hellions could go for a mineral line as well. Oh, at the same time though, Solar, he's cutting workers at 41, he's going all in with Lings, Roaches, and Ravagers. Solar, he knows how ahead he is, he knows how little Maru has, so Solar's just sending everything across him. He's avoiding the Xel'Naga, going the long way around, and he does reveal his hand. GG gets called. Solar ties up the series 1-1, taking down Maru. GG. Let's go. GG, well played. We have an ace match. And you could argue that a lot of this game was on Maru. Again, he was a little bit too adventurous with his Reapers because he lost those Reapers so early on, because they got cleaned up. Suddenly, Maru didn't have map control. And then, of course, the real killer of Maru is is the landscaping. You know, the wall that was not a wall at the natural. There was a bit of a gap there. The Lings flooded in, and yeah, they just crippled the economy of Maru in one fell swoop. And now we find ourselves in the ace match in game number 3. Here we go. It all ends here. One way or another, one of these players will rise and the other will fall. As this is the elimination match of GSL. And it's crazy to think that one of these players gets knocked out first in the round of 16. Crazy. Here we go. We're getting into this and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Onside Gaming, being forced into the ace match. It is Maru. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, also representing Onside Gaming, tying up the series 1-1 in that last game. It is Solar. Yes. Funada the depot, papi. Funada the depot. Smooch, papi. Smooch. If it wasn't for that depot being misplaced, we would have had a very different game. Very different game there. On Alkione. But alas, we find ourselves in the ace match. Solo going to be going for a hatch gas pool. Maru going for a 2-racks opener once again. This time going to be a standard 2-racks back at home. No kind of fancy proxy racks or anything like that. And once again, with this, we're going to be looking for the ability to contain Solar here on 2 bases, to delay the third, and to get ahead economically. We'll see if Maru can pull it off. We'll see if Solar can adapt. Again, we are on Oceanborn, and the problem with Oceanborn, the difficult thing about this, and the reason why I think this is a good opener for Terrans on this map, is because there's really only one third base you can take. There are two options here, the linear third or the triangular third, but this linear third is very exposed. It's like players, they struggle holding onto this as a fourth or even fifth base, let alone a third. So there's only one option, so the likelihood of Maru coming across the third base if Solar tries to take it early on is pretty high, which means Solar should be contained to two bases. Should be. We'll see. We'll see if Solar is able to sneak it out or he's able to maintain his economy. But now, Queens are on the way, Lings as well. First Reapers are zooming across the map, looking to get an eye on what Solar is up to. He does sneak out that drone. Again, is intending to expand. Overlord gets across the map, and Solar is now aware of the 2x opener. The Reaper checks. Oh, it doesn't quite hug the wall, though. The Reaper misses the drone. Drone is still alive. Solar can go for that expansion, or he can try to. Now Reaper's going to be dancing with these Lings. Queen does pop out. That will force Maru back. And Solar is staying on two bases. He's going for a third Queen. Should be setting up for a fourth Queen momentarily as well. Maru, he checks the third base location. He sees that there's nothing here. And he will come across the drone. He will shut it down. And this... Ooh, as he does force the gas geyser. But again, he's forcing Solar here to stay on two bases. Solar even going to try to sneak out the linear third base instead. Bold move. Bold move out of Solar. See if he can hold on to it, as that drone was hunted down. Maru, he checks the triangular third once again. Confirms that it isn't there. Gonna be feeling pretty good about himself, the fact that he's been able to contain his opponent. As Maru did go up to 5 Reapers, actually. A little bit inefficient. But he does come across his space. Link speed is about to finish up, though, so Solar, he should be able to hold on to this. We should not be seeing a cancel. Queens are coming in. Ling's getting ready for a surround. And Maru, he's aware of the Link speed timing. He should be very careful here with his control. And he does back off, aware that Lings are probably amassing, and we don't want to throw away these Reapers. Back at home behind this, we are transitioning. Interesting. So we do go for that third TC. It's going to be 3CC 211. Once again, Cyclones are on the way, not Hellions from Maru. And he did get quite a lot of damage on this base, and this is going to be his next target. This hatchery. Again, there's really good high ground here, so really good tank positionings available to lay siege upon this base. It's on the low ground as well. Oh, the Reapers are about to be surrounded, though. KDA charges go off. One of them goes down, a second as well, and a third. Big pickoff here as Solar shuts down this army, getting every single Reaper. You may be thinking that Reapers, they don't really scale too well into the mid game, and you're not wrong, but they actually do surprisingly well supporting a bio army with their KDA charges. Just disrupting the Ling Bane, denying any kind of surrounds. It's pretty surprising, but yeah, early on, these Reapers, they provide a lot of utility, and now that utility is gone. Maru is still building up his forces, going for double E-bays. He is going to be active here with the Hellion with the Hellion Cyclone. Hellions do with Lings. Cyclones, they can dive on top of Queens and Overlords. So a good marauding force. But Solar, he is looking to spread creep and try to hold on to this hatchery. A couple of Lings will get shaved off. Potentially an Overlord. Up. Ooh. Clutch transfuse. Overlord survives. And again, Maru shouldn't be diving onto creep. He should just be skirting around the edge. But the Lings are looking for a surround. Oh, and Maru gets caught out. The Cyclones will fall. Big pickoff here for Solar once again. Shutting down the Reapers and the Hellions and Cyclones. And now we have the bio drop. Stim is done. But this push is so much weaker. This push should be hitting with those Cyclones, with those Reapers, with the Hellion as well. Solar, he should be able to hold on. Again, Maru just being too adventurous with his units. A little bit too wasteful, maybe overconfident. He will force a cancel. Does deny the fourth. does pick up, head straight into the main. Canceling the fourth is a pretty good start here for Maru, all things considered. But he can't quite get much else. Behind this, he's just building up his forces, getting a third CC. Getting up towards that 5 rack setup here on 3 bases. Now, I wouldn't be opposed to an 8 racks all in at this point. I'll be honest. Like, to break this third base, I think it's very powerful. It can be very powerful on this map. On Oceanborn. Speaking of 8 racksing, we had 5. There's 3 more. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a lot of, not Dragon Scales, what's the other one? Royal Blood. Dragon Scales was really good for 8 racksing as well. But similar to Royal Blood, I do think that the rush distance by ground is relatively short, and especially with this positioning here, with the base layout of Solar, I think this can be quite powerful. Obviously, we saw this earlier today. Maru did attempt to 8 racks Scarlet, and Scarlet got away with so much greed. She just completely shut it down. We'll see if Solar can do the same. As Solar is double expanding, his bases had been delayed though. Like we saw the force cancel earlier, and Solar isn't quite at 80 workers yet. He's building up towards that, but he hasn't quite reached that point. As Solar is working on 2-2 bailing speed, his upgrades are looking decent. I worry because he's investing into Hydras, and right now Solar needs Ling Bane. We need a massive Ling Bane army. Otherwise, Maru may just roll over him. May just snowball out of control. Solar getting supply blocked for a moment. Double drop coming in, cleaning up a lot of this creep. Getting some of those active tumors. And again, this is the setup for a 3 base all-in out of Maru. 8 racks, that's all you need, Papi. That's all you need. Now, unlike Alcyone, where we saw Maru do this against Scarlet, there is no gold base. So we saw that Maru kept this going after he was held because he was able to lift up his main and take the gold. That won't be an option here for Maru. So he's going to be that much more committed. And if he does get cleaned up, if this tank count gets reset, Maru will have a hard time keeping this going. Behind this, the army supplies are pretty comparable. Solar, it did invest into those Hydras. Very risky thing to do. As the tanks are pushing on forward, Maru going to be pushing actually towards the south, not towards the north. Meanwhile, Solar taking this slow and steady, amassing a Ling Bane army. There's a lot of creep to take advantage of. As Maru is deep on creep, but he's exposing his tanks. This hatchery will fall. But Solar looking to catch some reinforcements. And he's setting up a massive surround. Yeah, he pushes on forward. He catches some of these tanks. He's going to be collapsing in from the right-hand side as well. The Banelings roll on in, and every single tank is going to fall. This Marine army just was not in position. And Maru's getting cleaned up. He does get 14 workers. Oh my god. A surprising amount of drones did fall, but he loses his army. And I mentioned before that if Maru loses his army here, like, it's going to be so difficult to rebuild. He's down to only Marines, and now Solar is snowballing out of control. Again, the positioning there from Maru was lackluster. He knew where the army was, and his Marines were not there to protect those tanks. He was just spread thin and caught out. And now Solar, he can just swallow this up. Sure, Maru got a base. He got a mineral line. But Solar, his economy is still looking strong. Maru steaming on 40, catches some of these queens. Oh, Solar caught with a bit of mispathing. Bit of awkward pathing there with those Hydras. There you go, 30 more Lings on the way. Banelings as well. Maru once again trying to take advantage here of the high ground. Once again. But he's only got 1 tank. At the same time, Lings, they do catch some of the reinforcements as well. Marines are going down. We can even push in towards the mineral line. What you see is what you get. Maru, he's completely all in. He's been all in this entire time. The base will be given up. Meanwhile, we get into the mineral line. 14 SCVs go down. The economy of Maru, non-existent. It's battered. It's bruised. Deepers are going down. Now Solar is once again getting ready to collapse on this position. He's waiting for the Lynx to come back home. And I don't see how Maru can stand up to this. Not anymore. Not anymore. 2-2 kicking in here for Solar this time for the next fight. More reinforcements are on the way. The tanks are getting a lot of shots off, to be fair. But we're just waiting for the moment. Reinforcements have arrived. But here we go. Solar, he pulls the trigger, collapsing on this army. Ling Bane rolling on forward. We do have some decent tank positioning, but there just aren't enough tanks, aren't enough Liberators. The Marines are going down as they kite back onto creep. And Solar swallows up the army. GG gets called. Maru is eliminated from GSL. And Solar moves on. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Solar does it. He survives the 3-base all-in, shuts down the 8 racks, and just like that, Maru, GSL champion, was it G5L champion? Gets knocked out. And he's the first to be eliminated in Group A. Something that I don't think many people thought, well, saw coming. I did not see this coming either. I was like, oh no, first in Group A. Oh, for sure thing. Of course. What else would happen? GG. GG, well played. What's crazy is that this isn't just, you know, the best Terran player in Korea, the best Terran, considered by many to be the best Terran in the world. I would be among them. I think most people actually would. Maru, he was last season's champion. Season 2 of GSL. Maru, he was the champion, you know? He's the reigning GSL champion, and to be knocked out in the first round is wild. Crazy, Poppy, crazy. GG, well played. Congratulations to Solar. When it comes to what Maru did in that game, I was talking it up. I don't fault him for 8-raxing. I do think it was a viable option given the scenario to try to go for the 8 racks. But leading up to it, we were kind of taking notes of it as well. Like, Maru was being very wasteful. He was being a little bit too adventurous, and he was being punished for it, losing a lot of steam early on. I assumed that if Maru was going to execute an 8 racks, that it would be pushing towards the right-hand side, just because, again, you have such a good setup there for tanks to lay siege upon that base. It isn't as much of a kill move, because as we saw, Maru pushing on the left-hand side did gain access to 2 hatcheries, sure, but you're that much more exposed. There's so much creep in that area. There are so many angles of attack as well from the Zerg player, and fewer choke points to take advantage of, unlike on the right-hand side. So on that map specifically, on that attack route, I wasn't too convinced there, especially considering that Solar had maxed at that point, or he was close to maxing. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised by the route that Maru had taken. It was, of course, more of a kill move from him and less of a build-up over time, but yeah, he was caught out in the end despite the tank positioning. His Marines were out of position, right? He exposed his own tanks. They were the first to go down in the first attack, and Solar snowballed out of control. GG, well played. Very well done by Solar. And with that is the end of Maru's run here in GSL. Wow. GG, well played. The hero of Solar takes down Cyril, takes down true, and oh, that makes this that much more terrifying. Oh boy, up next, I need a moment to set this up, and I need a moment to really take in the situation here. We are down to our decider match. Solar, he advances on here into the next round. Hold on, I should be updating some of these scores. But Solar does advance on into the decider match, where he's going to be facing off against someone who has been patiently waiting. As we just switch our scenes over. Up next is a ZVZ. Initially, Scarlet, again, Maru had a rough time today. Scarlet took down Maru as Maru was hyper aggressive. Creator took down Solar. Creator was the first to advance into the round of 8. Maru is the first to be eliminated, and now it comes down to a ZVZ between Scarlet and Solar. I'm concerned for Scarlet because as was just mentioned in the chat, Solar has very powerful ZVZ. He has been having his way with Serral. I think Solar has beaten Serral in like the last 3 or 4 best of series. Like it's been crazy. Like Solar has had Serral's number so hard. He's just been so reliant. Oh, sorry, so reliable. Sorry, Solar has been so reliable when it comes to taking down Serral time and time again. So this is gonna be a tough matchup for Scarlet. I'm curious as to what she has prepared for this. I'm curious how much went into this series and this best of, as this is gonna be crazy. We're getting rowdy, Papu.